The internet censorship just came to the USA. This is what chat was warning me about!
Welcome back, guys. So just yesterday we talked about the situation unfolding in the UK with new regulations forcing people to give up their personal information, such as face scans and credit card information, all under the guise of trying to protect children. We'll revisit this in a second for anyone who may be out of the loop on that situation and the context there. We'll briefly take a look at just a few paragraphs on this article explaining what's been going on. But first, I want to get...
Bro, finally, we're reaching the dystopia of 1984.
Right to the new situation, as
Yippee!
Similar stuff is actually unfolding right here in the U.S. As just hours ago today, a lot of people are talking about this tweet.
Yeah.
It says, the Kids Online Safety Act is the U.S. equivalent of the EU's Digital Services Act and UK's Online Safety Act. If passed, it will lead to digital identity, total de-anonymization of the internet.
Didn't Blizzard try to do this with Real ID and then it backfired on one of their moderators? And they got harassed by the same people? There ain't no fucking way this is rolling out federally. No, I don't think so either. I think America, in terms of like, on the federal level, this will get chopped, but still, the fact that they're talking about it is kind of scary. Also, hi, Hino. We love gooning too much. We're too based. I mean, jokes aside, maybe parent your kids better? I don't know. Kind of a crazy thought. I have a feeling he's gonna do the same thing that did to Blizzard. Okay, for those that don't know, Real ID was a thing that they rolled out on World of Warcraft on the forums because they got sick of people saying horrible, not really horrible, but like saying demeaning things towards each other, and they thought that maybe by putting people's real names and stuff behind at the forefront instead of hiding behind anonymity, it backfired immensely, and one of the moderators got harassed so bad, basically, by a bunch of other people and in a forum thread that they quit Blizzard. They literally quit Blizzard. They said, I can't do this anymore. I'm packing up and taking my bags and working for another company. Because they got ran out of town. Yeah, exactly. So they were like, they found out where I live. They found out my previous job, and they were like, I can't do this. They wanted literally just want a registry of IPs with real government IDs tied to them. This is why they would propose these laws, and they're horrible. Why?
And massive censorship. It was reintroduced to Congress May 2025.
This
and
is
indeed,
terrible.
we can see this over on congress.gov. S.1748, what they once again call the Kids Online Safety Act. Although it's
they guise it under Kids Online Safety and they just want to censor.
Currently only in the introductory stage, this is also clearly not good news, especially with all that's currently unfolding across the world. Various governments trying to seize as much control over the internet and individuals as they possibly can.
What a surprise.
Payment processing corporations trying to censor things and also achieve as much control as they possibly can too. And
you guys laugh and say, oh, the Chinese Communist Party has control over video games and what gets published. Do you realize that payment processors are doing the exact same thing? Except it's not the government, it's the payment processors. They have that kind of power. Isn't that terrifying to you?
And groups like Collective Shout over in Australia propagating this stuff with the payment processors, and we can see what are governments doing. Are they,
the corpos of the
trying
government
to protect people and fight this stuff? No, they seem to love it. Of course, they'll try and frame it like they're protecting people. Yeah, they're trying to frame it like they're protecting children, but we all know better.
And Steam banning adult sections of video games because activists said so. What a surprise.
Admittedly, there's not too much information out just yet about the specifics of the bill, but I think we can reasonably presume what this is about. And so let's briefly hop back over to vocal.media, this article we started with about what's happening in the UK. We'll just read like these paragraphs right here probably. So it says, the UK Online Safety Act is out and it's already causing havoc. In a digital era where privacy is already on life support, the UK's long-anticipated Online Safety Act has officially become law, and its real-world consequences are emerging faster than many expected, championed by the government as a framework to protect children and users from harmful content. Critics argue that
the nanny government wants to control what you want to see, that what your kids see, instead of having parents that, take care of their children. It's so crazy.
the act is less about safety and more about surveillance. Now that the law is active, its effects are starting to ripple through UK internet spaces, and the concerns are loud, urgent, and increasingly justified. We'll take a look at this section too, actually. This is also very important. So they say, under the guise of reducing anonymity and curbing abuse, the law empowers Ofcom and approved platforms to require government-issued ID, facial recognition data, or other personal information to verify user identities, even on apps or forums not traditionally considered quote-unquote high risk. And here's the kicker.
And it's literally capitalism censoring what it deems unsellable. That's what they guise it as, and they're like, no, this looks bad on our company for letting it be associated with us. Banks and payment firms are actually deplatforming sites because of compliance fears around content that they think is inappropriate, that they deem as inappropriate. This is economic censorship, bro.
The data doesn't just sit on your phone or with the app. It's a part of a centralized, regulated system. In other words, if you want to use the internet in the UK like a normal person, you may have to dox yourself to the government first. That's a level of exposure many civil liberties...
I trust the government. They totally didn't leak my social security. Was it at the start of the year? Do you guys remember that? 90 million people, or was it like 80 million people, got their entire social security leaked all over the internet?
Advocates say crosses a line. We were told this is about child safety, says Priya Merton, a digital rights lawyer with the UK-based group Open Privacy Alliance. But what we're seeing is the creation of an infrastructure that can track, monitor, and punish speech. Arrests for online speech.
Yippee.
Merton points to several disturbing cases already.
And who's to say that they won't use their government ID that they have on you when you say like something like to the effect of, this censorship sucks, let's go organize a protest in the UK? Like, what's to say they don't like start having police showing up at your house for saying that that you're going out against their best interest?
Emerging in the law's wake. One involves a 19-year-old arrested in Birmingham after being reported for quote-unquote offensive comments on a private Discord server. Although the original context was a heated argument over politics, the content was flagged via moderation algorithms now required under the new law and forwarded to authorities.
And that's already happening. That's true. We did cover that, I don't know, probably a year ago, where they started knocking on people's doors. But I'm saying it will be a lot easier because they have your government ID. They know where you live. All it does is reduce the amount of time they have to spend and the amount of resources, and it'll happen faster and quicker.
We're witnessing the criminalization of speech, Merton says. And the worst part, the infrastructure now exists to make these arrests easier. And that's already proliferating in the UK. For example, take a look at this top post from 20 hours ago on the subreddit UK Politics.
This is scary, dude.
Elite Police Squad to monitor anti-migrant posts on social media. Top response reading, Dear the police officer reading this, if your job is to waste my tax money by sitting on your fat arse scrolling through Reddit and Twitter to keep an eye on people realizing that the government of the last 30 years have lost the plot and that they'd rather their community be safe, the HR advisor who described you as elite was only doing it to spare your feelings. Go transfer to a county line/SA gang crackdown division if you want to actually live up to why you wanted to become a police officer instead of just doing easy work. The comment right below that saying, we should deport all migrants who have come illegally. Any legal immigrants who commit crimes should be deported. Immigrants should not be able to claim any benefit until they obtain...
Chat, for those that don't know, I'm an immigrant too. I came here to America legally. I think that people should come here legally because I did. I don't think it's fair for people to just have a free pass. Get her out. I haven't done anything wrong. I've never committed a crime in my life.
LR, at which point it is determined on their contributions. Migrants have no access to social housing, no hotels, no spending money, nothing. NHS surcharge to continue. And you gotta wonder if that person's gonna get a knock on their door from the elite police force over that comment. Another top comment reading, look, I'm not a fan of the way some people talk about immigration, but can we just stop with the authoritarianism, please? If government actually showed they cared about people equally, properly, and not just play lip service to the notion while constantly doing things that prove otherwise, actually care about our boys not doing well in school, for example, for genuine reasons instead of...
Or all the stabbings that happen. Like, London actually has
demonizing.
Jesus. Has a problem with stabbing crimes. It's escalated in the last 15 years. It's been insane.
Them actually care that houses cost stupid money, that the NHS is on its knees and actually fix stuff. People would have less reason to scapegoat the blame of their hardships onto anyone else.
Yeah,
if life here is actually good and enjoyable for people in the UK, then people would be happier, and their posts would reflect that. The angry posts, regardless of the rationale or ideology behind them, is indicative of dissatisfaction and unhappiness, if not outright suffering, even and when blame is being misplaced.
I don't like doing the video game analogy again, but I think League is a really good example. When you don't let people voice their opinions and actually have a voice, even if it's game to game with different people, they start lashing out in ways that they can work around to try and voice their opinions. Again, with the whole bait emote and stuff too, with how they implemented that, people started saying that that was a signal, a dog whistle for people needing to game end themselves. The same thing is happening in the UK. They'll go out on the streets. They'll start to find other ways to speak out against them, and they get angry with each and every single day.
Fix that for people, they'll be happier. Then you all wouldn't need to go crazy with, frankly, expensive surveillance and speech
suppression 01 IRL.
And similar stuff on full.
People will find a way to get around the censorship, but it will just make them angrier.
In Australia, 8 days ago from Our Australian Politics, this post titled Face, Age, and ID Checks Using the Internet in Australia is about to fundamentally change. The article itself says the Albanese government trumpeted the passage of its legislation banning under 16s from social media, which will come into effect in December, but new industry codes developed by the...
Why don't you just have, why does a under 16-year-old really need social media? I didn't really have social media until I was probably 17 or something. How many of you really engaged with social media? I don't think it was necessary at all. I would have been probably happier if anything. I didn't have a Twitter account. I don't think it's even remotely needed growing up.
Tech sector and e-safety commissioner Julie Inman Grant, under the Online Safety Act, will probably have much larger ramifications for how Australians access the internet. Measures to be deployed by online services could include looking at your account history or using facial age assurance and bank card checks, identity checks using IDs, such as driver's licenses, to keep children under 16 off social media. Will also apply to logged-in accounts for search engines from December, under an industry code that came into force at the end of June.
And you don't think these kids will find a way to steal their mom's driver's license and making a fake account? The government is so stupid. You really think there's just no way around it? You know what they do in Korea? This is a fun fact. I played a lot of Lost Ark, and I wanted to play it before it was released in the West. I bought an account that basically was a fake doctored social security number from South Korea, and that's the way you could play. You'd have to get a VPN to get around it to play the game on the South Korean servers because they ban all foreigners. There's ways around it. It's the same principle.
The code will require search engines to have age assurance measures for all accounts. And where an account holder is determined to be aged under 18, the search engine would be required to switch on safe search features to filter out content such as adult material from search results. 6 more draft codes being considered by the e-safety commissioner would bring similar age assurance measures to a wide range of services Australians use every day, including app stores, AI chatbots, and messaging apps. A top comment on this one saying, simply put, this policy will be impossible to enforce.
Yeah.
Age verification every time I use a search engine like Google, Okay, so the major corporate-owned search engines sign up 1%, and comply. That leaves all the other options that I'm not going to go listing, but they are...
You think Google's gonna comply to that? And waste all that money and resources? Like, Google, at the end of the day, is a massive multi-billion-dollar company. They make billions of dollars every month, every day. You really think they're gonna comply to this shit? What are you gonna do? Then they just ban Google, and then Australia's fucked, or whatever.
All browser alternatives
Or the
that focus on
UK.
user information and data protection. As far as I'm concerned, what's at stake and what should be considered is being ignored. Why is it that anytime our government proposes new legislation or laws to supposedly protect us and keep us safe, we never ever discuss the possible abuse of power that could be conducted if we ever faced a government that was authoritarian and oppressive? It's not about if you think it could happen or will happen. It's always a possibility. It's about the risk involved. We have already, over the last 20 plus years, shot ourselves in the foot as society on a global scale. We just hand new powers to governments on the promise of a safer society and the necessary to protect ourselves. When are we going to wake up and realize more laws, regulations are rarely the answer for long-term safety? Enforcement of what's already in place and has been working for hundreds of years is what's required. It's that simple.
It's like a game of regulatory dominoes. The UK falls first, and everyone else is like too scared to stay upright. The US, the pressure is unironically global, and we have to fight back. The UK regulators are mandating more and more aggressive removal of harmful content. I'm using that term very loosely, which can be interpreted extremely broadly. In every country, the laws are different. Some countries think that it's okay. Some states think that this is okay and this is not. In some states, it's like, oh, why are you doing this to yourself? This is such a stupid idea.
Yes, this technology that's newish in the terms of hundreds of years, but still the same
We
as it
saw it
always
happens
been.
in Germany,
More government regulation
too.
is rarely the answer. Informing and education, supplying us with information. Regulate the industries that peddle the very things you're trying to protect our children from, but you don't do that because lobby groups with huge endless pools of wealth lobby you not to. Meanwhile, you regulate, enforce, and enslave the people and allow the corporate sector to exploit us, unhindered by regulation. It's time government got back to protecting the people from being exploited and started regulating the corporate world.
That's not gonna happen, but the government used to be for the people, like, I don't know, 200 years ago? Maybe 150 years ago? Yeah, it kind of fell off really hard, huh?
But then again,
Before any of us
who would
were
regulate
born.
a group of people who constantly stuff fat wads of cash into pockets and whisper in your
tasty.
ears what should be done? Like I said in my coverage yesterday, it's tragic what's happening to the internet, and all of these similar measures being implemented around the globe around the same time frame, it's highly suspicious. It's almost like the people pulling the strings are not even trying to hide their nefarious agenda. It's like they're indirectly bragging about it even. But let me know what you think about all this stuff in the comments. Thank you for tuning in. If you enjoyed my coverage, please consider liking and subscribing. Appreciate you. I'll see you in the comments and in the next one.
If you're not pissed yet, you need to wake the frick up, chat. You need to wake up. Smell the morning coffee. Platforms are changing the chains, the proverbial chains around the creators' necks, including video games, entertainment, the internet, websites, and platforms. They already banned Rule 34 and a bunch of other shit. They removed mouthwashing from itch.io, even though it doesn't glorify SA or bad themes that involve characters getting hurt. The whole point of the story is to not glorify it, and they think it's bad because it has the themes that entail something that they don't deem as appropriate. Instead of not letting your kid on the internet, they're like, we're gonna ruin it for everybody else because we can't, because the people in our country don't take care of their children. They want it to be a nanny state, essentially. They try to pull that shit with us in America, they're gonna kick rocks. America's not gonna comply. I bet you they'll try, but it'll fall through. At least I hope so. People also really love gooning. So, dozens of these indie sites and smaller creators have reported, like, payment withdrawals and content suppression. It started with Patreon, I think in like 2020 or 2021, and it started happening with Pixiv too, which is a Japanese-based company. But yeah, this is like censorship by transaction. They're not muting you per se, they're unfunding you, and it's trickling into government control and overreach.